Good morning, Essence. This is Miss Tracy, obviously, and I'm going to walk through these three problems you sent me with you this morning. So, our first one is here that you sent me. So, we have a -2 times -3, and whenever you have parts of an expression that are separated by operations, you can work on whatever is within or in between those operations until you get them resolved. Okay, so let the operation act like a separator. So we can go ahead and we can do this even though there are parentheses inside of a bracket over here. We're going to get to that. You can do each one separately. So -2 times -3 is going to be a +6 because a negative times a negative is a positive. All right, now we have our positive sign, and we have 3 times whatever's in this bracket. Now here we have -2 times -4. Negative times a negative is a positive. So whatever the answer is, it's going to be positive. 2 times 4 is 8, so it's going to be a +8. And here we have a negative or a minus and a -2. Whenever you have a minus sign, it's just another negative. So when you have that, I want you to think about it like this. I want you to think about it as plus -1 times -2. Okay? Because that's what it is. It's asking for the opposite of this number. And the way we get the opposite of a number is to multiply it by -1. So we have 6 plus 3 times 8 plus, and a negative times a negative is going to be a positive. 1 times 2 is going to be a +2. All right. So now we know that 8 plus 2 is 10, right? So 6 plus 3 times 10. So it's going to be 6 plus 30. That's going to equal 36. Okay? And let's see, I don't remember what you had for that. You had 32. Not sure how you got the 32. So that's where, why that one was marked wrong. It should be 36. Okay? Let's look at the next one. You have a -4. We can't really do anything to that, so we just leave it alone. It's all by itself. We have a bracket, and again, we have a negative or a minus sign in front of a -3. So this is going to be -1 times a -3. And here we have another one. So we're going to say plus. We're going to turn that minus sign into a -1. And then we have the -4. Okay? Plus 6. And then we have another minus sign. We're going to turn that minus sign into a -1 times a -5. Now we can deal with these. So we have -4, -1 times -3. Negative times negative is positive. 1 times 3 is 3. 3 plus -1 times a -4. Negative and negative. It's going to be positive. 1 times 4 is 4. All right. And then we have plus 6. And then we have negative and a negative. That's going to be a positive. 1 times 5 is 5. So +5. All right, so now we have -4 times 7 plus, add these two together, 11. -4 times 7 is a -28 because negative and positive is going to give you a negative. And 4 times 7 is 28. Plus 11. That's going to give us a -17 because when you have two numbers and you have a minus sign here and a positive sign, when you combine them, it's subtraction when you have different signs. Okay, different signs is subtraction, and you always give the greater sign, the greater number, the sign to the answer of the greater number. So 28 minus 11 is 17, and 28 is bigger, so it's going to be a negative number. All right, let's look at this half. We don't have to do anything with the half just yet. We'll leave it alone for now. Negative 2 times 3 is going to be a negative 6. Okay. Then we have plus a negative 1 times a negative 2 times a negative 4. Plus a negative 1 times 3, right? That's that negative 3. And then we have a negative 2 plus a negative 1 times 1. Whenever you have that minus sign, it's just changing this number to a negative is all it's doing, okay? So let's address all of these little multiplications that we have to do. So half, negative 6, and we have 1, 2, 3 negatives. When you have an odd number of negative signs, the answer is going to be negative. So we're going to put a minus sign here. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 4 is 8. So this is going to be minus 8. Right? And technically what you're doing right here is you're saying plus a minus 8. All right, you're combining these because they're the same sign. All right, we're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to look at these. We have negative 1 times 3 are different signs, so it's going to be negative. So negative 3, all right? So negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 2, we have the same sign now. So they're going to be positive. 3 times 2 is 6, so it's going to be a plus 6. And if we look right here, we've got a negative 1 and a positive 1. So that's going to be a negative 1, right? Because 1 times 1 is 1. So plus a negative 1. So what we are going to do now is combine all of these addition and subtraction articles that we have. So a negative and a negative, when the signs are the same, we just add the number and keep the sign, right? So 6 and 8 is 14, and they're both negative, so it's negative 14. Plus 6 minus 1, so that's going to be 5, right? We know that's going to be 5. And because 6 is the bigger number, we keep the positive sign for 5. All right, so now we can address, we're down to, all of this is solved within the bracket, so now we can address the multiplication times 1/2. So all you're going to do is 1/2 times negative 14, and we treat it like a fraction by putting it over 1. Okay? And then we're going to add that 5. So we just say negative 14 over 2, because we multiplied, that's our resulting fraction, plus 5. Negative 14 divided by 2 is going to give us, these are different signs, so the answer is going to be negative, and 14 divided by 2 is 7. Plus 5 equals negative 2. Because we know they're different signs, so we subtract, and the bigger sign is negative, so the answer will be negative. All right, I hope that helped a lot. Maybe try some of these tricks of breaking it down into negative and negative to help you see what's going on. If that helps you to do it that way, then do it that way. If you have any other questions, just let me know. And I'll see you Thursday.